Zulfikar Farzan from Newsfirst. My question on Sri Lanka is, Sri Lanka's foreign minister on Tuesday said that the country's debt restructuring process will be done and dusted by end of July. Now, has the IMF given the green light for the ISB restructuring? And at the same time, Sri Lanka's public sector is protesting, demanding for increased salaries. And the government says that they cannot accommodate that request. And if they have to do so, they'll have to raise taxes. Now, what is the IMF's position on such a move, given that the IMF program stresses on protecting the poor and the vulnerable?
With respect to the question on debt, we, of course, have taken note of the new developments with respect to the discussions on debt. And we're still, our team is in the process of assessing the agreed terms of the debt restructuring and whether they're consistent with the parameters of our program. So once that assessment is complete, we'll be able to communicate our views on that. But of course, it's important. It's a very important step for Sri Lanka. And then on the other question on salaries and the program protecting the poor, as I said at the beginning, we do understand, and it's very important to recognize how difficult the situation in Sri Lanka has been over the past few years. They've been very challenging for the people of Sri Lanka, and the country does continue to face some very complex policy trade-offs. And this is particularly the case when it comes to debt and the fiscal position. Both of those situations do remain in challenging territory. So restoring fiscal and debt sustainability is critical for the Sri Lankan economy to emerge from the crisis and to avoid returning to a situation like it faced in 2022. And of course, they're also essential to lay the foundation for robust and sustainable growth and job creation. The government does need to, of course, have the resources in order to pay its bills. And that means ensuring that taxes are paid by those who can most afford to pay them. And that is a key priority in Sri Lanka. Efforts in this direction include improving tax administration, limiting the size of tax exemptions that have been granted in the past. And finally, let me emphasize that the program includes measures to protect the poor and the vulnerable. It has a strong focus on anti-corruption and good governance to mitigate the impact of the reforms on vulnerable segments of society, and also to ensure that the hard-won gains from the reform efforts ultimately benefit all of the people of Sri Lanka.